Greetings, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Wars, Dragon. This is Dragon Knight, Dragon Warm, Dragon Sage. And as always, if you like this, don't forget to burn that like button, and the subscribe button to join the family. Dragon Knights, Dragon Wars, Dragon, like, comment, share, and I think you kind of get the gist from there. Now, again, this is just like what I've been wanting to do for some time again, and I kind of missed it. So here's like my full, basically of my full series of of the Soulsborn. And I do apologize since Sony is just keeping Bloodborne on their own platform, which is a really annoying. And I already kind of know about that, but I still give Bloodborne at least a 9 out of 10. And on top of that, I do want at least just to mention that, and I do apologize I don't have it here, but I still want to at least give at least like a small review of that. Plus, I have done this on my channel before too, and I do want to do it again because I did miss that feeling of like doing like a full complete series. Like I already done with my Maximo, and I did say, hey, maybe I want to do this again, so I decided to. So, and also I do apologize. Yes, there is like some stuff there that is still like old, and I don't have those files. I had to like download them, so I do apologize if there's any more stuff there. So, anyways, here is the whole Soulsborn series that I have reviewed. So, hopefully you enjoyed. Knights, Dragon Warriors, and Dragon King. Like, this is Dragon Knight, Dragonborn, Dragon Sage. I think you already get the memo. In today's video, well, at least review, and of course, today's video, as always, depending on where you're watching this, I am reviewing the original Demon Souls that was originally on PS3. And I already have done a live stream on it. I already have beaten the game, already platinum did, as I probably end up showing in the whole entire review of Demon Souls, PS3. And I hope that you at least enjoy about something like this. And yes, the original had very clunky Souls-like, and it was originally a very old game. Even Miyazaki said that he didn't was having a hard time, and he at least, and of course, I'm just quoting it right now, probably portray breaking. I'm sorry, but even he even said it's like a piece of shit. Those who actually played it, yes, even though that's a piece of shit, but underneath that, it's like a gold. And to me, I can definitely understand, and I even love it today. And that being said, please enjoy this today's sponsor, which is W right over there. I hope you at least enjoy. So, anyways, to the sponsor. Here's a little summary, or at least a little preview of, well, of the intro, which definitely starts out from, and of course, this is from, well, FromSoft's one of the starting franchises that they didn't pick up. So, I'm gonna let this intro go ahead and play out now.
just from the own title screen or intro that you just saw, that is actually a very beginning. Now, again, I had been using some clips and anything from my previous streams of Demon Souls that I already had done on PS3. And yes, I am using a PS3 version of Demon Souls because one, I already have the game, and yes, this is actually on my PS3. Two, I want to at least give it some love because I don't believe anybody actually has done an actual review of the PS3, or if they did, then it has been such a long time, and everybody's been talking about the remastered. Yes, the remaster has been out for at least some time, at least probably a year by now. I could be wrong, but I do want to go back to the original, like the original retro, I guess some will say now, because technically a PS3 or anything like in the PS3 generation will be more for the retro. And yes, Demon's Souls is a retro game now since about at least early, 2013 or something like that. I'll probably end up did a little thing up here. But again, I at least from the PS3, it is a very clunky Souls, and it is a good start. And yes, it does have some major flaws, but that's what makes it really cool. I also am using a PS3 private server, which that's going to be linked in the description below, how to set it up. And if you are a little bit more like a visual, I'll end up linking that in the link description below. You can also use this on PS3 3, or if you have the emulator, I think it's called RCXP something, whatever the case is, the PS PC or Steam Deck of the PS3 version. That video is gonna be linked description below, and it's just a little tweaking about here and there, and yeah, like I said, this was just a very it was like a barely like a rush game, but you can definitely tell they were kind of polishing up best as they can. But if you actually know about how you know Japan is when it comes to these deadlines, it definitely shows, and it just definitely reflects that. And Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, it definitely has its flaws and definitely had a rush game. And there has been cut content in the games, at least as far as I know. I believe in Demon Souls, which is the first one, there was an armor set called the Penetrators that wasn't in the original, but they had it in the remastered, which actually is really cool. And how Blue Point did that. And I know there was like a little bit memes of how to get it, like wish you were here and stuff. It's really cool, and it to me, it's just how much, in my opinion, how much the original has its own magic to it, the best way I can describe it, and how much it's really cool. Now, of course, probably, like I said, sometime in this recording, I already have done like a full on short and gave my actual rating, like 1 through 10, like I have done in the past, or reviews, like short reviews like I have really done. Again, you might see some like slices and stuff right here because I didn't want you all just to watch who is watching this by of it's, of me just, clicking, pulling, because again, I have done like live streams. You can definitely check that out in my live stream tab or my past live streams, because I actually have done that on Twitch. Then I put it on YouTube, but then I just stopped doing Twitch because of the recent BS of the sponsorships and how much they willing to take your money. That being said, I I have stopped streaming on Twitch because of what Twitch has done. And it's already a sinking ship at this point. I don't know how long they're going to keep it up, but I am doing on Kick and on YouTube. And honestly, I have been having a lot more fun on here on YouTube. YouTube streaming, YouTube gaming, wherever the case is now, whatever YouTube has for streaming and stuff. And it's just something for me I actually enjoy. So, being said, the graphics of this game, it has aged. I think it really shows because this is like when I was in high school, at least my sophomore year, and I didn't know this was game came around. I My original one was Dark Souls 2, and why I consider it at least one of my favorites. And of course, Demon Souls is definitely one of my favorites, and I'm glad I could at least stream this game from my PS3. Now, of course, I'll end up doing a review and shorts and live stream of the remastered. Now, I may have to compare the original from the remastered. There are some really good graphics that I gotta say from the remastered. Now, again, from the gameplay of the original, right now I'm going ahead and just mention, yeah, there are just some really clunky souls, and you can definitely tell from just playing it. But again, I have good nostalgia from it, so I can definitely give it a pass. Now, the remastered, they have really done themselves a really good about the graphics, the visuals and stuff, but there are just some things I don't like, which includes the graphical design of the characters, like the bosses from the Judicator, which I don't like how they did in the remastered. The the pimp master dude, I don't, I forget the officials. I don't like how they did that because to me that was a little bit of waste opportunity, because it could have just shown in the remaster. We could have say, okay, that is actual mask, or oh, that is the actual face, because in the original it actually shows, we don't know. Is it like the mask or is it the face? It just gives you that creepy vibe. And it shows what a base of sin of greed. And to me, that's what makes it more cooler. But in the remaster, it just shows, oh, let's just gross it out and be part of it when it should be the actual source of the cause. I'm sorry, that was just a major waste, in my opinion. And yes, you can let us say, well, you're just having it because you have nostalgia of the remaster. I'm just showing you between right now, at least the original, as you've seen, it's a lot more better. I'm also going to at least link the, the difference, because I have watched a video of that. I'm going ahead and link that. Going to link that video in the description below between the remastered and the original, because to me the remastered did do really good. Well, I'm not saying the PS5's performance, it's just like a mini mini PC. I'm not saying they didn't, it can handle, the PS5 can handle, Demon Souls Remaster, but there are just some things I did wish they just left alone or just gave it a new coat of paint. Like I said, that video is going to be in the link description below. But I consider this game, at least in my opinion, worth a try. Even though there is been some problems, I gotta say I forgot to at least do a recording, but I do have it on my profile. Which again, in my opinion, I think the remastered, in my opinion, did a little bit more better. Now the trophies are a little bit in the remastered. It's a little bit difficult, but not as bad. But just as much as the original, they definitely switched things out a bit. And I could definitely see why they did that too. And in the value development, it's I gotta give the remastered some really good credit because it makes you feel. But the other spot I gotta say is for me, in my personal opinion, is the Tower of Hope. which I will always call it the Tower of Despair. The remastered, why did you do it? I hate that area in the original, and I don't know why they changed some things in the remastered. Like the lady that is singing, you only hear in the original, you can hear her singing just one or two notes, just on repeat. Then you can hear flies are coming. And it to me, it's like why? Why did you change that in the original? I'm sorry, it's just one of those pet peeves I do have. Speaking of that, I'm going ahead and just let a guess best way of me saying it, having a let you hear the original because again, to me the original is a masterpiece of its own. So here's a former clip of the remaster, and of course this was my live stream.
And ow. Had a sneeze. You could have turned. There we go. Ow. That was my fault. There we are. Can you stop? Paint stone and grass. Soul and grass. Ah, there is that. There we are. Grass.
Now again, this is from like my previous stream that I have done. Of course, you can find it on my channel, which is actually still really fun. Of course, I still have need to probably do again, but I kind of got really burnt on, continuing because I was just doing a lot more, Souls like, and I got burnt really easily. But don't worry, I'll still end up doing it. Now, of course, the bosses in this game, you can definitely cheese like the coward phalanx, fire bombs. Also, there is going to probably be like a doing a little bit short from the original. Now, again, they have patched it, which honestly I can definitely understand. But it's like an infinite box glitch that you can have max amount of everything that you want. Fire bombs, fire weapon, souls, and I will definitely will do that. Very very soon. Of course, whenever the recording is done. But again, the bosses, like I said, Phalanx, the coward, because if you destroy all the defenses, it's it is really easy. Again, Flame Lurker can definitely cheese, and I bet there are some other ways of cheesing the boss. And of course, now Phalanx is you know Phalanx, Flame Lurker. There are some other, at least from Black Phantoms, or I will always end up calling them Red Phantoms, because they definitely brought that from Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and I believe they stopped at Dark Souls 3. I don't, and then of course Elden Ring doesn't have it anymore, because I think they're like, okay, I think that the little trope is already done. But at least from Demon Souls, like I said, it was like a good start. Now you can get Black World Tendency, which you can defeat all this. And here's a good example, like what I was trying to say is because these enemies can guard, stun lock you completely, like as you see, and I was like really raging here. I'm like, why is this happening? Even though I'm trying to swing and I believe I have poise, but again, it's just one of those gripes I do have. And not every game is a masterpiece because, at least in my eyes, if it's a masterpiece, it's a complete. But here's the question: if it's a masterpiece, even though with its flaws, is it still a masterpiece? My answer is definitely yes. Even though I just contradicted myself. Now, unless it's flawless, like a true flawless masterpiece, then yeah, I can definitely see that. But again, to me, I think as anybody else can definitely say, if it's a masterpiece, even with the flaws to them, it's still a masterpiece. Even with, with all its flaws. But there is good polish there, too. But, over that, and here's another one, which I definitely say with the of course with this boss, I can definitely see why they did it a little bit more better. In my opinion, again, I know I've been kind of harping off the remastered. In my opinion, the penetrator right here is a lot more better looking in the remastered, because in here it says shows it just magic. So, but yeah, but again, like there are some bosses I don't like, and like I said, the video is in the link description below. And if you have saved somebody, it can actually be a lot better. And of course, this is definitely a co-op type game that you can play with your friends, and you can definitely beat this game like in a day's worth. Or if you're like a completionist that is trying to get that trophy, then it might take you probably 2 days. And also be very careful if you're trying to deal with the penetrator. You can attack your allies, and if you attack them enough, at least a certain amount, it's game over. And there is a boss I definitely have, at least that is really easy, so it's like not a problem. But False King Alant, which is definitely end up showing at least somewhere right over here, because he is very, I want to say more kind of difficult, but not as difficult if you already know his move sets and so on and so forth, because it is that hardness. But getting to him is kind of difficult if you didn't take care of the blue dragon, as you probably end up seeing right here too. And how this goes for me, even False King Alon, he was more difficult. But again, if you take a little bit more experience approach and stuff, you definitely take him out. Now, of course, of course, it's actually one of my builds I was kind of using. He can be punished if you know his moveset and know how to guard break. I mean, not guard break, but counter and stuff. It's just an easy fight for you. But that's just my only way. Now, of course, I'm gonna go ahead and let this clip play out, just to at least just how I feel about it. So here's the full clip of that, and of course, here's a red phantom that I was mentioning. And if you get black world technically, then you can bypass the game. If you're in white world, it's actually a little bit easier, and it depending on that. And by the way, I'm gonna end up mentioning that in the Northern Regalia, and that's very soon.
Operate. And by the way, here's some slaves right here. Enter. Enter. Damn. This is my third favorite boss. False King Alant. He holds, I believe, with Soulsborn. He looks a lot menacing in the remastered. Oh, bullshit. Oh, he got me. Ow. Come on. Gotcha. I don't really need.
And here is basically the final boss, which is really easy. I think this is where they kind of show mercy, but again, I don't really know. But again, King Alon, the original one, you will definitely see here in in this clip very soon. So, and again, right after this, you can have two choices, and it depending on which ending you want to go with. As far as I believe, there's only one ending. It depends on which one you go. And of course, King Along is very easy. So I hope you enjoy this clip right about.
Be welcome here.
This is easy, so.
Surely you have seen for yourself the pain and suffering that fills this world. The fate poison with poisons. God is merciful. Created the Old One. The Old One will feed upon our souls and put an end to our tragic realm of existence. You fool. Don't you understand? No one wishes to go on.
Yeah. And now we have Soulbrand. Alright, before continuing, let me head back real quick. Got a lot of souls here. Use.
Here is the Northern Regalia, which is the most powerful weapon and the most iconic from Demon Souls. Very recommend to get, and you can definitely get it in New Game before going into New Game Plus. There may be you can still do it as far as I know in the remastered, but you can also do it in the original. And to me, in my personal opinion, if you have Soul Brand and Demon Brand, it don't matter which one, you can combine them together. And of course, you can read it right here of how that goes and what it actually means to be a true, at least in my opinion, a true king. Oh, and of course, there's Dragonborn Smasher, which is basically a you know Berserk reference. I think everybody knows by now. But again, in my opinion, it's really recommend. And if you're going to ask, okay, how do I get into White War Tendency if I'm in Black War Tendency? You can face Black Phantoms. And if you face Black Phantoms, that increases your White World tendency. I'm sorry, because like I said, I was doing like a live stream. There it is, right there. Because you will definitely see it. And they actually did that in the remaster a lot more better. The Northern Regalia is the most recommended, in my opinion, most recommended. Now, I'm gonna end up showing at least two different endings. Of course, I do give credit where it's due. Again, you can defeat, well, at least duel old King Doran, but he will hit you hard. He hurts like a truck. And to me, that's like endgame right there. But if you get him percent, you get his respect, and he lets you have the other part to make the Northern Regalia, which basically he actually has. So that being said, Ed, before I forget, here is 2 clips of the ending that I chose and the ending that you can get. And if you want the trophy for all rings, you're going to have to go into new, at least somewhat new game plus. So here is the 2 endings you can get. So I hope that you enjoy.
Now we will have a choice.
Thine work is done. Slayer of demons, go back above. The Nexus shall imprison thee no longer. I shall lull the old one back to slumber.
Don't be already the canon one. Here we are.
My thanks. At last, my duty is fulfilled.
Exit the fog. And that's it. Well, I have beaten Demon Souls. For the 4th time now. So,
The Old One, along with the Maiden,
I'm gonna
were
let this
swept
play.
back into the lulling fog.
So enjoy.
Boletaria was spared from the demons, but also lost its knowledge of soul arts. The souls lost during the pandemonium were never retrieved. And today, the unstable world has another monumental to hold its fabric together. A brave new hero of unprecedented power.
Slayer of demons, go back above. The Nexus shall imprison thee no longer. I shall lull the old one back to slumber.
The Old One sensed a new and powerful demon by its side. And before long, the world will be engulfed by the deep fog. Bring more souls.
And that is how Demon Souls, the PS3 version, is done. And I'm glad that I can share with you. And of course, there's Hidetake Miyazaki. Sorry, I butchered his name, but I know his last name. And yes, and this was actually Miyazaki's first Souls game that he actually produced and viewed and stuff like that. And of course, here's all the bosses. And to me, I enjoyed this run. I enjoyed how Demon Souls, even though it was a very short game, but it's still to me very good, even from today. And I'm glad they did it. And there are some things that I'm glad they did in the remastered. And of course, here's all the bosses that you can actually show. And I guess what they were trying, I think in the credits there was like, okay, this is how someone in the order is, but or how they kind of did it. I don't know. To me, I just felt like somewhat it's like a little bit mixed in together. But that being said, I still enjoyed this game. Even today, yes, there is some flaws. There has been, but even though the polish is still there, but it's like but still to me, it's actually really, really good. So that being said, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors, and Dragon Kin, it from Demon Souls PS3, there were 68 deaths, 4 playthroughs, or at least 3 playthroughs or 4. I forget now. I'm thinking I'm kind of doing the 5th one in another run, but forgive me, I forgot now. Definitely, total play time, I believe, was at least the hours I put into this. Definitely, I think 46, 36. I forget how many times I'll probably end up. I forgot how many hours I've definitely put in it. All trophies unlocked, but there's that goddamn one that's called the Bladestone, which pissed me off. But thanks to Draco the Dragon, he actually helped me and he told me which way to farm. And it's just that damn Bladestone that drove me crazy just to farm. But after that, it's so worth it. And of course, 1 platinum trophy from Demon Souls. And in my opinion, this game is so worth to play. And if you have a PS3, get Demon Souls. They're at least just to try out and see which one you like and which one you kind of favor. And to me, I think that's what makes it really unique. So I'm going ahead and let these credits roll out and let it, roll through. And of course, I hope that you caught at least the real keyword of the day, which is right here, Umbasa. And that is the real keyword, and that just shows how far you made it into the video. So that being said, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors, Dragon, here is the final, and here's this song that to me is actually worth listening to.
And that is how you start.
Again, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors, Dragon Kin. This is Dragon Knight, Dragon Warrior, Dragon Stage. I think kind of giving my final thoughts and my own experience about Demon Souls on PS3. If you have been playing this, at least on PS5, which is the remastered, probably at least at some time, later down in the future, whenever I did get a PS5, I probably already did a review of Demon Souls Remastered. I already have my own complaints and my own thoughts and opinions about that, which is already out probably sometime right after this, but at least during this recording and editing, I have not done it yet. But still, if you feel more nostalgia, definitely play Demon's Souls and Demon's Souls PS5, the remastered. And I bet some that's how they got into at least Dark Souls. And yes, Demon's Souls was the original, well, at least a starting foundation. But back then, before Hatake Miyazaki came around, Demon's Soul, there was a lot of others from Soft. I think at least most would know Kingsfield, and that was like the original starting spanning of the universe. And of course, there are probably other ones, but I believe it's mostly from Kingsfield, then Dark Demon Souls, then Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Dark Souls 3, and Elden Ring, which is the recent one. And probably sometime after this, I already did my review on them, and I hope that you enjoy. So my final thoughts about Demon Souls, at least PS3, I can definitely see why they didn't like it, but I'm glad they kind of did it at least a little bit more better. But I know they probably just handed off to, Blue Spot, which actually what I heard, it's actually really good. And for at least the PS3 version of Demon's Souls, the original OG, I'll give this game my dragon rating of Rebirth It. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you at least enjoyed. Sorry, I have been focusing on a lot more of mostly of live streaming because at least that helps out a lot with my content and will boost up the view time, and of course some shorts are on the about to be on the way, probably at least sometime when this recording is done. I already gave, my actual score of it, and I hope you enjoy. As always, this is Dragonite, Dragonborn, Dragon Sage, signing out. As always, my Dragonites, Dragon Wars, and Dragon Kin. I hope that you enjoy this video, and as always, don't forget to burn that like button, kill the subscribe button to join your family, Dragonites, Dragon Wars, and Dragon Kin alike. Comment, share, and turn on all notifications, so that way you never ever miss a live stream, shorts, let's plays, reviews, or any new video hitting your way. And as always, I hope that you enjoyed my review of, well, Demon Souls on PS3. As always, this is Dragon Knight, Dragonborn, Dragon Sage signing out. And please be careful and be safe, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors. I definitely hopefully see you in the next one. Farewell for now. I'm Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors.
Greetings, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors. This is Dragon here, aka Dragonborn, and basically this is a review of Dark Souls 1. I already played it on a while ago, like 5 years ago, at least to say, or maybe even 4. Again, I don't remember how many times I died. And of course, this is Dark Souls the original, and if I actually end up doing a Journey Plus, which is probably gonna be the playlist I'm gonna end up doing, I'm actually going ahead and go ahead and do a review for Dark Souls 1 remastered, but I still probably have second opinions. But anyways, over there, or yeah, over there, whatever the case is, right over there, I hope you all enjoy the review of me even past me from playing Dark Souls 1, the cuts run. So that's the only clips I actually gotten. So again, I hope you'll enjoy. Talk about blast from the past from this game. Yep, and as y'all know, that was me a very long time ago when I started my channel. Yep, this was at least one of the games that I have actually been played on my channel, I think since 2016, probably 2017. And of course, I'm going to end up showing a little clip from here of what my original voice is right now.
Because now, covered the damn souls.
Yep, that was me a very long time ago. Talking about a really great journey. So yeah, Dark Souls 1 was originally the second, or at least probably the some of the fan base will probably end up calling it like the second of of the second Soul in the trilogy of the Soul series, which is basically the second one, and first came Demon's Souls, which I actually play a little bit of, but it's really good. And honestly, it's really good, you know, to see this game, and even alone see how really far I actually came of. So basically, again, this is on PC, so the graphics here, of course, technically I'd have increased a little bit more of, because of due to editing and stuff. So, you know, it's just basically a good start. I'm sorry, I can't help just to look at this and just remember where I came from, you know? I remember that little setup. But, you know, the graphics, it's still okay now, but I know since with them remastered and how things are, basically it just reamps, you know, the graphics, but there's only little changes in the remastered. And again, I will definitely do a full review of this. Basically, at least for some of those who actually play Dark Souls, you know, either the first one, which is basically right here, and basically this one, it was way back then. It was called Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. Was originally on PC. Now there was another one on PS3. I almost said PS4. Excuse me. And I believe there was 3 different versions. There was just the regular one, and then you also had then you also had Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition, which basically I'm reviewing. The mechanics, well, basically the gameplay, it's actually really, in my personal opinion, really good. Really felt really good. Yeah, there was a difficult time, you know, at least for first-time players, those who maybe actually, you know, had a hard time, like a casual like me, which I'll definitely admit. You know, it just felt really good, but, you know, it's not like that hardness, like, it's gonna punish you because you did something stupid, you did something wrong, and it's your fault. Honestly, I love that game mechanic, and the graphics, you know, was okay, you know. You know, and of course, you know, there's different movesets like the great swords, regular swords, axes, great axes, shields. You get different armors. You can go with heavy, you can go with light, you can use miracles, you can use sorcery, you can use basically anything. And as basically what this is, it's just mostly feels a little bit more like it's your own journey. Do what you want to do with it. We're just going to give you a little bit, you know, story here, and that's basically, you know, that's just basically it. Now, of course, there are some, you know, like fan characters, like Howell the Rock is one of them, which is basically a meme. You know, there's a shield that, I mean, not a shield, but, you know, an armor that you get from the first game. You know, they have, you know, switched up, you know, a couple things here and there. And of course, I don't want to spoil as much in here, but, you know, that's just how I personally believe. And of course, the bosses are good, except for one, which I actually named her. She's known as Bitchlith. And for those who actually know, the Witch of Lysalith, when that cut contact fight and how to get there, that was basically not even fun, you know. It was already felt like a damn chore for me just to get through, get done, and mostly just run, you know, just get, you know, just alone in general. I definitely did like, you know, oh hey, you need to get these 2 bells and that's it. But the other problem I don't like in this one itself, just my personal opinion, is like, oh, you need to get one thing, then you're able to warp. I'm sorry, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne did that better. You don't need one thing just to travel. And the other thing is I really don't like was the simple fact of, you know, And even if you want to warp to a second bonfire or a second part of the area except for going to the first one, no, you have to teleport to that one. And honestly, that wasn't really fun to me. Just in general, it wasn't fun. It wasn't, yeah, I get it, it wasn't as much because what I thought, at least from the last time I remember, thanks to EMB or Epic Name Bro, he did mention that Dark Souls 1 was basically a rushed game, like Demon Souls itself. Now, of course, there is a theory about Dark Souls 1, Demon Souls, excuse me. You know, it was, you know, because there's like a fog, and I don't want to spoil the ending for that, but I think everybody will know about fog and Demon's Souls, and to Dark Souls. And of course, there are some other ways, you know, to do this. And also, if you can see here too, I definitely like that little, you know, awesomeness. And yeah, there's a little, you know, and there's a little thing that I did with the Dragonite. Those are good times. Yep. And of course, I even still have that as my little thing down, you know, on YouTube, so that way people will know, or at least my watermark. No, I'm just sorry. I'm just having a little blast from the past from, you know, something like this. But, anyways, it was, you know, from my own perspective, it was just a little annoying. I'm sorry. I'd rather go to the second bonfire more than to the first bonfire and then walk all the way to the second or to the third, or which is the final bonfire. I don't remember if it could do that in there. And of course, as you guys probably know, that's patches, you know, from through all the Soul series in general. And also, you know, like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, as you've seen here, Bloodborne in Dark Souls 3. He wasn't in Dark Souls 2. I don't know what's up. So, of course, I don't like the Catacombs myself, just in general. But also, what I was running with this as FPS, I believe it was running about 30 FPS, and of course, these are, as you can see right now, these are basically like from past, like literally past, you know, like videos I have archived. And for those who don't know, this is basically of Guts run that I have done on my channel like very long time ago. And, you know, it just felt really good just to really, you know, sit down and actually do this again. And of course, the DLC I actually have done and beaten as right here, which is a really good fight, which is Knight Artorias. And also, if you have made it this far, like literally, if you have made it this far, please put in the code as you can end up seeing in the screen sometime, which is long live Knight Artorias and Sith forever. And if you put that in the comments below, that tells me how far you actually gotten into the video. And also, that's going to be definitely a keyword for anybody who has at least gotten this far. You know, Knight Artorias is a little hard. He was giving me a bit of trouble a little bit at times, but I know his little tricks of stuff, like you see right here. If you can get him to the nailing spot, then you can literally be alright. It's just that stopping, you know, buffing that he does. And if anybody doesn't know this, Knight Artorias is basically is somewhat of Guts, and because Miyazaki has been inspired by Dark Souls, he has put in some Berserk references in the game, so it kind of makes sense as anybody sees these games and mostly feel like that these are like made to be, they want to make a Berserk game, but I believe they don't have the rights to it yet. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, Knight Artorias' fight is really good, in my personal opinion. Mana's fight, It's okay, but it's, to me, it's not really that much worth of a fight. It just, in my general, even alone right after this, even even when it comes to the final boss fight, I never really felt, like it was never meant to be, And of course, again, long live Sir Knight Artorias and Sif forever. Put that in the comments below. And even if I mentioned the other way, please put that in the comments below and let me know that you gotten this far. So that way, hopefully they rest well. And of course, I definitely give Sir Knight Artorias a wonderful bow. I know Guts doesn't do that, but I couldn't help myself end up doing this. So, yeah. And here is the final boss of the mall, which is basically, well, Lord Gwyn. Honestly, this fight, if you can literally know how to parry him, that's all you can do. Just parry, riposte, parry, riposte. Now, of course, I wasn't really good at him, like, doing, what he was doing. And, of course, I'm probably end up, making this at least this final one as probably to unmute, just to mostly feel how it was back then. And for anybody who wants to know what ending that I took from this one, I took the dark ending, because I felt it was definitely necessary, worth the fight, and alone how to basically end the game. That's just my personal opinion, and that's how I felt. Now, of course, Lord Gwyn does have that grab attack. Again, I'm not good at parries as I was back then, but now I'm at least okay now. And as always, past me from 5 years ago, please take it away.
Harry! Him! And this is it.
Link the bonfire. Link flame. Or not. Alright, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Wars. As you always, I definitely give, this game at least my honest thoughts and opinions. And back then, this is where at least to say, where I started my channel. And also, it definitely gives me that, those good flashbacks, to even alone just to try out and have fun, And just even looking back, although I think I said this in my review, cringe-worthy, even probably just, editing them, it's a little bit cringe, but you definitely get more nostalgia from the flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always enjoyed it. And again, I don't see how this is going to be a definitely like a highest review, because there's, as I mentioned in probably, in the whole entire review, it's because most of the time there's still mechanics, and even alone on PC when the original one came out, it was more broken than on console, because it was originally from the FromSoft's first time actually getting into the PC side. But I think it's still a really good game. And if you got the remastered, I hope that you definitely enjoyed it. But anyways, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Wars, I'm gonna give this game my honest dragon rating of. Alright, my Dragon Knights Dragon Warriors. I know some may thought about at least give this, at least a higher rating. I'm sorry, but I don't really see how it can be a higher rating. It's just mostly it's a good game, but I don't think anybody, even a completionist, will go through it. If you're a casual, if you're a diehard fan, that's cool. But for me, I don't really see anything. At least completionist wise, and again, I may have sexy opinions in Journey Plus, which is probably gonna be a playlist sometime like way later. But anyways, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors, I hope that you enjoyed this review. As always, if you like what I saw, please burn that like button. Also, you did not accidentally hit thumbs down for a reason, which is okay. Let me know in the comments below. Kindle that subscribe button to join the family of Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors. Comment and share, and please don't forget to ring that bell, so that way you always stay up to date. And as always, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors, I definitely, hopefully, see you all in the next review. Farewell for now, my Dragon Knights, and Dragon Warriors, and Dragonkin alike. Greetings, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors. This is Dragon here, aka Dragonborn, and Dragonkin alike. I'm still working on the name real quick, sorry about that. But anyways, this is my review of Dark Souls 2, and a little bit of Dark Souls 2 Skull First Sin, since I did use a PS4 save, so that way to get a little bit more footage. But over that, I definitely hope that y'all very enjoy, these reviews I've done. I definitely hope that at least I can say, at least that way you can enjoy. Again, as always, these are my own thoughts and opinions. And as always, right over there is where the video starts. I definitely hopefully see y'all soon. After, well, at least when I do my dragon score. As once again, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors, this is a past recording of my earlier Let's Plays when I was doing, Let's Plays on YouTube. And as you all can see here, this was my one of my older setups, and I actually had that blue microphone, Blue Yeti microphone, which actually helped out a lot. So yeah, again, I just want to let y'all know these are like past clips. I am a little bit afraid just to undo a little bit of that, but I definitely want to mention about Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 was my first game. And as you I'll probably end up putting a picture here, but yeah, Dark Souls 2. I mean, this isn't my first Dark Souls game, and it's not gonna be my last, because well, I already played Dark Souls 3 in somewhat order. But anyways, Dark Souls 2, at least the original, everybody has basically doubted it, and again, I don't remember how many deaths there was, and I already did complete much of it, and it's good to have a little blast from the past. And also, this is where I actually had started my Filmora, if y'all didn't know, a little brief history. So, but yeah, but Dark Souls 2 is the predecessor of Dark Souls 3. I mean, Dark Souls 1. Excuse me, I almost said 3. But that's just made it really cool. And of course, even just right here, I'll end up showing some lores and stuff, which I actually had done before. I have that long hair, and as y'all know, I'm still wearing my glasses. So, all right, enough nostalgia from the past. But yes, this game will be like at least the original, because again, everybody hated it because it was really different, and at least the major key point is they changed basically how it was from Dark Souls 1, which again, Dark Souls 1 wasn't really much as fun because there was a lot of tactics, and stuff. And 2, the soul memory. Now, I definitely agree, the soul memory is at least one of the parts that is pretty hard to nail down. And also, here's a little bit, Easter eggs. But anyways, I didn't like that either, even though you can get a ring with the gaping ring. Also, I end up going ahead and post like a little video up here or somewhere right there. Show a little bit of stuff right here, which I'm going to end up going ahead and show now. Greetings, my Dragonite Dragonborns. Basically, this is just a simple little Easter egg I definitely want to show you. And of course, I think everybody knows this, but I know I discovered it on my live stream like I think about at least a year ago or something. But I just want to end up showing this. So again, this is on a different character that I'm actually making right now. And I definitely want to at least show this. So if you got a bow, and you come over here, you just aim at this dragon rider. Now, of course, I will end up speeding this up, so that way y'all can see something, alright? Alright, as y'all can see right now, since he has his shield up, there's a little secret that you can definitely choose when you choose this boss. And of course, that's only probably access in New Game Plus. And I'll definitely, hopefully, see y'all at least there when I'm at the boss. This is it. Let's go. See? No health. So you can just attack. Done. So if, of course, since I'm recording this, just want to end up showing this. So don't forget to actually show this in the video, Dragonite. Now, again, that is like one of the things that I at least did notice. Again, it was at this recording, well, at least at that recording, I think it was like, I did say about a year, but now I think it's like kind of up to 2 years. So, but yeah, you know, it's just really cool that, you know, you don't even know something like that, you know, in Dark Souls 2. And to me, that's what makes it really fun. And of course, again, I'm using the guts run. But, you know, and the other thing is true about teleportation. I think anybody will end up saying, well, like, you know, this level all the way to right here, which is the Iron Keep, as you can see right now, it makes no sense how it's connected. Yeah, that's true, but I guess you can pull what you want, you know. But, you know, I have done the DLCs, which I'm not going to post in because that's already enough of hard work as we speak. So, but yeah. And those, and of course, before even using a Femora, I was using Windows Share. So, again, sorry, enough with the nostalgia here, Dragonite, okay? So, but, you know, the other thing is too, and people probably will say, is like, oh, it's not canon. It is actually 2 canon because it's in Dark Souls 3. And yes, Dark Souls 2 Scholar for Sin, Miyazaki has been doing it, but I want to show the original some love because the simple fact is, it's been like literally pushed to the side, like nobody will knows this is the original. They always talk about Scholar for Sin, which in Journey Plus I will definitely make a video on. Another thing that definitely irritates me, I'm going ahead and post it right now, right above, so that way y'all can see this, and I'll definitely commentate on it. As you can probably see here, this really annoys me. Literally, how is this really fun? And this character, and of course layer clips of this video you see, this is all in New Game Plus 4 or New Journey 4. So yeah, that's another one that really, at least to me, irritates me because it makes no sense. And before I forget, if you're going to try to 100% this, I definitely would say get when you're starting this journey or any journey in Dark Souls 2 or any Soul series, at least go through the DLCs before you jump into a new game, because for some reason I don't know if it is on PS4 or through the whole series. Please let me know in the comments below. But yeah, you need all the spells including all the DLCs, which makes no sense because any other game like Dark Souls 1, probably Demon Souls, and Dark Souls 3, you don't need the DLCs spells-wise to just get the trophy. Again, it just really bugs me. And of course, and before I forget, in a little bit of these other clips, as you can probably end up seeing, there was like at least a little bit of a Scholar for Sin. And the other thing is too, you can definitely get a boss fight. Well, a secret boss fight in to the game. Now, when I was playing this, for some reason they added the secret boss again. It's Alia. Hashtag spoilers. But even though when I was doing this game like casually or normally, where the case is, it still showed like I wanted to fight him. Now I think they had definitely patched it up where basically you could do, you know, you had to fight, you know, a certain amount, do requirements before the final boss. Well, the final secret boss, which I put in bloody air quotes. I'll probably end up making a separate video for that, but it just still annoys me. And my personal opinion, I definitely like Dark Souls 2. Yes, it's still a flawed game. Yes, there's some flaws, because any game has its own flaws, you know? Not every game is perfect. I'll admit this, Dark Souls 2 is, I'll definitely admit this, you know? It's not, everything, it's not perfectly. And it will never be, in my personal opinion. And I'll definitely try it 100%, at least the vanilla version, which me and my friends will call it. And basically Dark Souls 2, just the original Dark Souls 2, which Miyazaki hasn't been part of, is vanilla, you know? You know, it's just actually, to me, it's actually kind of funny to see how far, you know, how I've really grown from this, you know? And I have done a full run. And as you can see here, this is basically my, of course I was using Scarlet of First Sin because I actually have it, and this is, I'll probably make a separate videos like this, and of course, please use this, Praise the Sun, in the comments below if you have reached this very far into the video, which I appreciate it. And the only problem is, I don't see the whole point through any Soul series. I don't care if it's Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 80, you know? I personally don't believe it's worth the investment to go to New Game Plus. And as you can see right here, yeah, even though I have the best weapons, the best armor, no matter what I'm using, they can take chunks out of it. And to me, that's not fun. It's never that fun, because, okay, maybe, like, New Game, just see what's up, but just don't go through New Game, you know, Plus 4. The other good thing about Dark Souls 2 is, except for using, except for I'm going to be in this covenant, I need to use a spell. Dark Souls 2, you don't have to do that. In Dark Souls 2, you can actually use all the hexes, and use all the spells, except for Pyromancy, which Dark Souls 3 has its own, and I'll make a video of that, of what it did and didn't. But, you know, the DLCs, in my personal opinion, DLC 1 is a good one, but it felt okay-ish, I guess, best way of saying it. That's just my personal opinion. And the other one, I can definitely say, at least the second one, which is the Crown of the Iron King, which, to me, is a really best one to get it out there, and to get even the bosses there, except for the tank boss. I think everybody will know. I just don't like that. But anyways, the second DLC is my favorite out of them all. It's just, you get a little bit more expansion because you've been into an area of, like, of the old Iron King, and of course I made a expansion of that. But maybe, and of course the third one, which is the Crown of the Ivory King. Yeah, at first I didn't like it, but thanks to my friends and I actually got into it, I actually liked the third DLC. I guess you later can say it froze over. Again, if you also gotten this far, please put in the comments below, praise the sun, because Sun Bros is for life, or Sun Dragon Bros is for life, can I say. And the Shrine of Mana, or which I will personally call it, the Shrine of Hellhole, it's just a complete nightmare. You even have one of the weapons I can scale with you through any game, which is the DLC weapon, which is a definitely highly recommend weapon to pick up and use. So, but anyways, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors, I'm going to end up, let this video finish through. And hopefully that you definitely all enjoyed. And for anybody who was wondering, if I remember correctly, I took the light ending, which you take the throne. So, as usual, as that been said, I'm go ahead and let this rest of the video play out. Again, use this. Praise the sun. Because at least to me, that way how far you reach into this video. Alright, my Dragon Knights, Dragon Warriors, and Dragon Kin alike. This is Dragon here, aka, well, Dragon Knight, Dragonborn, and Dragon Sage. But as always, there was definitely some problems, at least in my personal opinion, which I probably already mentioned. Probably whatever, side that I've shown. Basically, it just means that, yeah, I think it's not really as much for those who are true diehards of the Soul series, but I consider myself at least a casual maybe, but I don't. But for completionists out there, you may have a little bit hard time doing it, unless you really want to go to New Game Plus. And the other thing is too, like I mentioned, if I didn't mention it in that review, part of that review, I'm gonna end up at least putting this part. Basically, yeah, all the DLCs do count for, if you have all the DLCs spell-wise, they are accounted for the trophy. Maybe it's only on PS4, but any other game, it doesn't count, the DLC doesn't count. And of course, when I'm talking to Dark Souls 3, which probably a little bit later down the road, that's probably gonna be another thing. But anyways, I know for y'all just want to end up, if y'all did skip to this point, I'm going to go ahead and give my dragon completion, well, not my completion, but my dragon rating. So that in mind, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors, I give Dark Souls 2 the vanilla, at least to say, for now, my dragon reign of Hordit. That being said, I know y'all probably will end up being mad at me why I actually made this one a little bit more higher than Dark Souls 1, because Dark Souls 1 was fun and all for maybe first playthrough, maybe 2-3 playthroughs, but after the 5,000-6,000 playthroughs, at least in the original, it's good, but it's not as fun anymore. And the PvP there, at least in Dark Souls Remastered, which I will definitely review at some time with my own thoughts and opinions. Like I said, I just definitely made my own points up there. But anyways, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors, I'm going to head and end this episode here. And as always, if you like so, please don't forget to burn that like button. Also, if you don't like so, hit a thumbs down, which is okay. Hit that subscribe button to join the family of Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors. Comment and share. And don't forget to at least turn on all notifications of the bell, so that way you never end up missing a live stream, YouTube Shorts, which already should have been out by now, and reviews like basically games like this or anything that I want to end up reviewing. So as always, my Dragon Knights and Dragon Warriors and Dragon Kin alike, I'll definitely see y'all in the next video. Farewell for now. This is Dragon Knight, Dragonborn, and Dragon Sage, signing out.
It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Eldritch, saint of the deep. Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
And when a new one begins. Greetings, my Dragonite Dragonborn and Dragonkin like. Oh, I think you're right, get the memo. And as always, if you like this style, don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe. Definitely turn that bell on and ring that notification so that way it helps out a lot. And as always, I think you're already seen at least in my previous, well, I don't know if you actually saw or no, but yeah, I had actually been thinking about go ahead and start this, Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 game review. And so far, and of course I have played it, streamed it, and of course I'm still doing more Let's Plays because this game is still very replayable. And of course, Dark Souls 3 is basically, at least as far as I'm aware of, the end of the major series of Souls main storyline that I think we all know from even our grandmothers and grandpas and aunts and uncles alike, and probably end up telling you how much Dark Souls 3 is basically at the ending. And this is way before Elden Ring was everything, and the next game after basically Bloodborne, which I'll probably end up doing. And of course, Dark Souls 3 is still a fantastic game. Even, more years down the line, yes, there is some, Berserk reference. I think we all know that Miyazaki was inspired Berserk, and of course, I'm probably end up putting up a simple thank you or rest in peace to the original author of Berserk, because he passed some time ago, and and it's just one of those things that I do want to at least put on to the side. Now, Dark Souls 3, like I said, it's basically telling you it's at the end. And yes, this is a fan service type game that's connected to Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, a little bit of Bloodborne, because there are still mechanics in Bloodborne that still adds into this game, which is still there. And, of course, multiple endings, at least, except for Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, where you get two different endings. But I know Bloodborne has 3 different endings, if I remember correctly. And of course, Dark Souls 3 has, I can't be wrong, I think it's 3 different endings, maybe 4. It just depends on which way you end up turning out and which way you can definitely go. And I have already mentioned about, all this, Dark Souls things And of course, Dark Souls 3 is definitely, like I said, it's still a good game. The graphics has been, and at least for 2016, even when I was kind of starting my own channel back then. And of course, I still think Dark Souls 3 is still a fantastic game. It's probably not like one of my top tier favorite, but at least one of my top favorite games. The story's, very linear, open, up to the player, and of course, very more up to you however you go. And of course, there's different builds, there's like a lot of armor sets, a lot of spells, and however you do your playstyle. You could definitely do PvP/PvE type of style. And of course, probably right around here most of the time, because I have been using some of my clips of, my Dark Souls 3, and a little bit of my own recordings of this game that I have done. And of course, I decided to at least do my best to put it all together. And I will definitely end up clarifying a little bit more in my Dark Souls 1 review. I had a lot of my Dark Souls 2 did it better than Dark Souls 1 bias. I will definitely admit that. And of course, why I kind of gave it a higher rating. And plus, some of the times when I was actually doing this, when I was doing Dark Souls 2, I was having more nostalgia. And I think that did show out a lot in my at least my game reviews of those two games. And of course, I'll definitely do a Bloodborne review, probably sometime a little bit more later. But I still think Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls, but if you have Dark Souls Remastered, it's still a good game. I still need to do like a game review on that, but that'll be definitely sometime, and my own thoughts and opinions about that too. But yeah, and there has been some spells that's been implemented into Dark Souls 3. And just as much as like very old characters and very old, like we didn't grow, but we know these characters from like long time ago. And of course, how much, the Soul series has been, an ongoing type thing too. So, but yeah, and I can definitely say most of the time I have already said what I said in at least in my two videos of Dark Souls 3 and the most Chronicle one out there as well, because it just always felt, I think in my personal opinion, like I'm trying to say, is just that a fantastic game of the series. And even though it's a fan favorite, I still think it's still a highly good game, even just for a lot of replayability. And yes, there has been just some ties, and basically it's just how the story ends, even getting close to where basically everything goes. It's just telling you, it's like every single recycle of Linking the Flame, or even just, just let the flame die, it just doesn't matter. And they have, and a couple endings up here will end up showing you, like, either you can, spoilers here, if you're very curious, but spoilers here, that this game has different endings and depending on your outcome, and that's where, like, Dark Souls 3 has built on that, which, again, came to, well, Bloodborne, because I believe it has 3 different endings. And I think they did it right here in Dark Souls 3, but did at least a 1-up, because there is a secret ending they can at least do. One is either Link the Fire, as usual, and we don't know where that goes. I think the most canon one ending, at least in my head, is where, again, spoilers here, it's definitely at least on I think 5-year-old game by now, or at least 3 years, but it's still there. It's just, I just sort of let y'all know, even for years to come. But the one that at least I think it's a canon ending, and of course they are kind of looking at like, okay, who's gonna pick up the next game? Like they want somebody else to do. But it's where you ask the Firekeeper just to, pick up the last respawning embers. And how that was saying as much was like, either we can let it, we could just see what would happen. And as much low fires will fade, there's gonna be always embers of hope to always come back even more, even if one fire fades. In turn to soot, it's always like a recycle, like an Ouroboros type thing. And of course, you can definitely kill Waifu for a very cool, well, quote unquote, cool ending, if you want to say that. And there's that one. And of course, I think mostly the fan favorite, or at least fan nostalgia, is the Lord of Hollows ending. And and just to do that one, you had to do a certain quest line, and depending on how you go through on each of your playthrough, will always end up to your own choice. And there is some good, at least in my opinion, about good quest lines out of the NPCs. And some of them are really good, some of them just, turn my heartstrings, and some of them was like, oh yeah, I wish I'd done that, And of course, I'm go ahead and just get into the Covenants, which is a headache itself at most. There are some good Covenants here and there too. It's just, I can say for myself at most that I think the Covenants in this game is good. There is some really good ones, but there's like the other ones, like that damn freaking one Covenant that you had to do just to do some PvP, just get spells. I'm sorry, I just wish they didn't have that in. I'm sorry, it's just so fucking stupid. Because there is a Dark Moon Covenant from Dark Souls 1, and you can either do some PvPing with other people, or the way I have to do is basically farm off the Silver Knights. I fucking hate farming those assholes. Even I had like max 99, it's just always, they just somehow just crank up the RNG to like 1,000. Or even times 50 somehow. Even at max luck, which is basically how it was in Dark Souls 1, they decided to make it even harder. It's like a 0.0001% chance. But even though, hey, you got max stats, but somehow the game mechanics always lying heavy on that RNG. It took me like literally 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, just get the stupid Covenant maxed out. Just get one damn spell that somehow it's just always a lock behind PvP. But no, we can't do that. And that's why I think Dark Souls 2 did at least better in that phase of Covenant items. Now, yes, there are some that's really easy, like the Sunlight Covenant. That's really easy. Come in, help out, and do basically of co-op, and you can get up to 30 Sunlight medals. And to be fair, and I know they implemented this into Dark Souls Remastered. Thank you, because this has started out as in like, oh hey, if you want to turn your, like these sun medals or Covenant reprisals or, whatever Covenant item that you're trying to get up to get, some sort of spells, you don't have to do one at a time. And yes, Dark Souls 1, the original, and Dark Souls 2, and I believe Dark Souls 2, Scholar for Sun did this too. It's just really stupid. But now with this other one, I definitely will give it some praise. It's really good, just for doing one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. You can just put in like 30 and you get all your items all in one. I think it's really excellent. And I know they have done this in Dark Souls Remastered. Definitely highly recommended praise, because to me it's just really good that some game mechanics has been put into others. And yes, I know I did say this in my Dark Souls. I think my Dark Souls 3 Draconic Paladin episode 1 or episode 2, somewhere right around there. They always trying to implement, and employ much more of game mechanics of their previous games, because they always want to try out and test out, or maybe just put in some more of the others. And of course, the bosses, it's basically like any other Dark Souls. Now, except for one. I'll probably end up showing a cool screenshot or whatever it is. It is the Nameless King. And the Nameless King, if you don't know from Dark Souls 1, it's basically to tie down who was the Nameless King, even though the Nameless King, still, we don't know his name. And basically, it's Gwyn's firstborn, if I'm remembering correctly. Because there has been some really good evidence of that. And to his covenant, which is the Sunlight Covenant, it still counts as a PvP, because I know some may think of it like, oh hey, this is not okay because we wanted the original. But at first I was that way too. But now I'm actually okay with it, because it makes sense. He is the God of War. And for a God of War series, I think not God of War series, but like any other pantheon of God of War, it kind of makes sense. And this is why I kind of tie in at least my Draconic Paladin between how it was with Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, because of Dark Souls. Even way beforehand, we didn't know, because there was always a Dragon Covenant only for PvP for Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. But now with Dark Souls 3, it just finally tie in that loose ends. I think it's still really good ones. And that's just my personal opinion right there. And there is some, I'll probably end up doing some videos, but do a video of my top 5, top 10, of bosses through Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, Bloodborne, and probably Elden Ring, and try to combine all in one for another day. But yeah, I gotta say, the hardest boss is definitely the Nameless King. He hurts like a truck if you don't know that moveset. And this is kind of how Dark Souls, well, the whole Soulsborn series starts too. It's just because they always try to teach you the mechanics to get good. And I know that's just me putting somebody down or whatever the case is. No, it's just how the Soul series teaches you. If you don't know the mechanics, then yeah, you're gonna get yourself beaten. But it's just like Rocky's mentor always said, if you want to be a champion, you got to take the hits, no matter what. Either you're gonna stay down or get up and continue to fight. And that's just how the Soul series always implemented that very well. And the endings, they're okay. And definitely how it is very loose of telling you a bit of stories and stuff. So yeah. And I know I skimmed over this before, and I apologize, but there is some spells that's locked behind covenants and some quest items that you have to do if you want 100%. I'll definitely will do a trophy rank of each trophies through the Soul series sometime a little bit later, because I do have my gripes and complaints and why I think one did a little bit more better. So I hope that at least can do that. But yeah. And like I said, even with this fan service game, I think anybody can get into it just fine. Can get into it just pretty well. And yes, even though it still has its own quirks to it, like any other game does, I think it's still pretty good. But in my humblest Soulsborn veteran myself, I think it's probably best if you start. If you have a PS5, start with Demon Souls Remake. I will definitely do a video about a game review of that. I think it's still a good one, even harder than the PS3. But if not, if you have the trilogy or have the way I have it, play with Dark Souls 1 Remastered, Dark Souls 2, Scholar for Sin, or if you can, I don't know if you can or can't. Definitely Dark Souls 2, then Dark Souls 3, and that will probably teach you a little bit out. Definitely Bloodborne and Sekiro, then Elden Ring. But that's just my humble opinion, even though I have not played Sekiro anytime. And I do have my own reasons why I'm not touching it, because I just know somebody who really put the game in bad taste in my mouth. And it's just one of those games that I just don't want to touch, because how that person really put bad taste in my mouth. But I'll probably end up changing my mind a little bit down the road. So, but yeah. And it's now, I almost forget about the DLCs. There's only 2 as far as I'm aware of. Well, possibly 2.5, because there is one that's like a DLC. It's just basically like the arena, like how they did in Elden Ring, but it's alright. It's just something just to do some PvP. And I know there's others who are a lot more PvPers than me. I'm more of a casual PvE, constantly going into new cycles, like on Ouroboros, or making new builds and just have fun with it. But that's just me. And I think it's still pretty good either way, however you choose to, wherever you go to. I think even most of all, Dark Souls 3 definitely does have that replayability, just like the other Souls series. Although Demon Souls, yes, no, we'll see. And by the way, before I forget, I want to thank you, my sponsor, as always, W Energy. So, get it away, W. And so, yeah, I think the DLCs, at least the Ashes of Emdel, it's still a good one. It's just the Freya's boss fight was a little bit of a pain. But if you get her movesets right and what she's very weak to, and that is actually very creative how they do that too, I gotta say, in my personal opinion, it's still a really good fight. And I think everybody's favorite is the Ring DLC. The Ring DLC, I think it was basically the send-off of basically Dark Souls. And like that's the swan song. And in my personal opinion, it's really, really well made. Even though Dragon Lake was there and Orlando, it's basically the Ring DLC. It's its own swan song of the game, and it did well.
Handed over that thing, your dark soul, for my lady's painting.
so yeah, that's Gale's boss fight, and thanks to, well, the one that I actually didn't mention. And yes, I will have some bias with playing Dark Souls or any Souls series on PC because PC there is some really cool fan-made projects or mods out there, like the Souls Conversions mod. Excuse me, Dark Souls 3 Conversions mod. Then there is the Cinders mod. And, you know, there's like really excellent mods on PC that I can definitely say for myself. And I think overall, for those who are probably still new to the Souls series, I definitely hope you at least give, you know, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3. And even if you tried Elden Ring, and yes, even Sekiro, and even the Armor series, although that's, from what I'm hearing, that's not technically yet. So, let me get on to my score, which, honestly, in my humble dragon opinion, I'll definitely give this game mostly my honor it.
Look upon us and recall the age of
Dragon. Greetings, my Dragonite, Dragonborn, and Dragon King. Like this Dragonite, Dragonborn, Dragon Sage, I think you get the memo. And as always, if you like what you saw, don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and share. Will help out. Also, this is my Elden Ring, the full Elden Ring review that, as far as I'm aware of, I decided to hold this off for a bit. And from here throughout, this is just spoiler free, just for y'all who probably is still on the verge of probably playing the game or playing the DLC, which has come out a few weeks, and almost, at least right now while I'm editing this, it's almost a couple more days before the full release of Elden Ring, the DLC, the Shadow of the Earth Tree. Now, I have played this game before, and I have already done my own playthrough of this like a couple times, and I already played this on the PS4 and the PS5 edition, so that way you know. And again, this is completely spoiler free, like I'm trying to say, and so that way you don't have to worry. And of course, like I said in my first impression videos, I do love the DLC, and I do love this game very much, and I love both. And I know I gave the original, the base game, like a 7.5 out of 10, and to be perfectly honest, I thought that 7 was still, or 7.5, I forget what I said in my short review of Elden Ring. And that was just the base game, because at the exact same time, we didn't know that the DLC will come out. And I'll definitely get that in a little bit later in the video, and that's going to contain a little bit more into spoiler territory. So, like I said, right now this is just completely spoiler free, and even as you see right now, it's just mostly just me going running around, killing some enemies. So a little bit spoilers, but not too spoilery. So yeah, but I have enjoyed both the base game and the DLC, and that's keeping this spoiler free. And I already done some live streams, and as you end up seeing probably like right about now, this is just mostly my previous streams that I have downloaded, which is like my Battle Mage. I'll definitely do up another Elden Ring live stream sometime, and probably do a remaster of the build that I have done before, but have unique twists. And I know I've been kind of very late to making a review of the base game, but I'm actually glad that I decided to do that, because the DLC was on its way. And to be perfectly honest, I thought for a second it's going to be even better if it just, be the way it was, because of how open world it was. And even before then, it's our first open world. And it kind of gave me that vibe of how they went back to the roots, right around Demon Souls, for example. And that was like before, any DLC came out. And of course, then you got Dark Souls 1. And then that came out with the DLC of Night Artorias. So, like I said, from these clips right here, it's just my previous streams that I have done that I downloaded and uploaded. And I'm just going ahead and say the base game, in my personal humble opinion, it's still worth fun playing through. And you're not, in my personal opinion, you're not basically not missing out as much. Unless you're kind of more into the story, then yeah, it's still like a little bit less story there in the base game. But the DLC kind of really kicked things off. And I have, enjoyed that one, even though I'm still, still pretty salty right after the first boss. Well, technically, not the first boss, maybe the third boss. No, at least the whole entire series, the entire DLC. Which I have done blind, and I did on patch, or day 1 patch. Which was rough. But, again, just save that for another time. But for the main story right here, through and through, I think you might enjoy it a little bit more. And I noticed about some of the mechanics that they decided to throw in here. I think it's just wonderful addition just to have. And an awesome addition as well from the previous Souls games. Even like Sekiro, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, even Armor Core. Well, unless you really want to call that on that one, or it's its own thing, I'll leave it up to you. But in general, let me tell you, they really cooked. Even from the base game, I was still really impressed at how much they implied, even though some of it I felt kind of a little bit basic, because I just didn't see much, at least there, at the beginning. So it was just kind of really cool. The bosses are still fun, except for I still hate Millennium. I'm sorry, but she is a bad boss. And I can say that for a fact. It took me 5 tries on the PS5 edition, now with randoms, with summons, and like I said, and I already did it's, DLC's hard. I already said it. Even Miyazaki said, that he posted that, yeah, he uses his summons. If you want to use summons, go ahead and do that. And if you also wanted to do, challenge yourself, you can also do that. But, be respectful. And I know about some challenges are here and there. Sorry. But I don't consider Millennia as a hard boss anymore, even right after the DLC. Which, I'll probably end up showing that in the spoilers, because I know, like I said, this is still a DLC that's still, that's still relatively new, and there are those who are still trying to pass on. But, yeah, even though I gotta say for myself, I do not like Millennia. Even after the DLC, I do not consider it as a hard boss. And yes, there are different endings, even though there are some other different, same different Elden Lord endings, and there's a star ending, all stars ending, and of course a frenzy ending, which I actually did, because if you want that platinum, you're gonna have to do it that way. So, but yeah, for me, I think, in my personal opinion, I think you probably will if you definitely can, if I can say in general, I think you will definitely like the base game, and I think it's also more fun just to do, even right after you beat the DLC. And there is some other bosses I do like, and I can definitely say, if I can put at least the base game in general, if you can ask me, if you're going to do this base game, you can definitely platinum it on your first playthrough, if you kind of look up a guide and stuff. Now, of course, there is some really good litters of spells, but luckily it's not how it was in Dark Souls 1, 2, and definitely 3, which is you got to collect all pyromancies, all miracles, all hexes, and all sorceries and stuff like that, which was very helpful, I gotta say. Now, the legendaries, you may have to, like I said, watch a guide just to get through that, just to see what else spells you are missing. But if you're a full completionist, and even though you got through all the platinum trophies, and you're wanting to get everything, you can definitely do that. And thanks to Draco the Dragon 2424, video link description below, he has helped me. And luckily with my PS4 edition, I had to go to New Game Plus just to climb it, but now on the PS5, luckily I know how to do because I played this game so many bloody times and I had put like a lot of hours to it. Then yeah, I can definitely say for myself, it is easier now. But again, if you want everything, depending on where your playthrough is, you may have to go into New Game Plus. Alright, so that being said, if I didn't put up a timestamp now, I'm probably going to go ahead and put it up at timestamp now. This is spoilers from here on out, alright? So, probably from wherever you're watching now, it's spoilers. I'm going ahead and talk about the DLC. Alright, I think now we are in the spoiler territory, and probably from here on out is the clips that I already done. And if you already watched my live stream of the DLC, then you already know my spoilers. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. I am glad I done this blindly, and yes, I got my ass handed to me. And I am happy to simply say that most of the other times of this was really good. And even some of the characters and side quests and a lot of other, stuff here that you could probably end up seeing, in my personal opinion, it's just more fun and really awesome. So again, you have every right to click off, but again, this is spoiler territory from here on out. So I did my best just to make sure all my clips I have is all selected. And if whatever time that you're seeing from here on out, I think it's personally best just some say of why I kind of hold this off for one, and two, how much that I needed time. And all of the characters and stuff. And even though I did most of the other side questing and stuff offline, I still enjoyed this. And there is like some like cool like special moments in my live streams I actually have done as well, and how much that FromSoft really cooked. If I could put this in like one major sentence of like how big this DLC is, it's definitely like an expansion from basically like Skyrim, mostly like Skyrim, but like the Dongar DLC wise. It's the best way I can say it. Or maybe even lesser because of the mass. But it's like 7 engraves into one big sandwich, or separate sandwiches. Because it's just so amazing. Like Mesmer, the not Saint Trina, but yeah, Saint Trina, the knight, the boss that's guarding, Saint Trina. Then you also don't forget Gygas, even though I hate that damn boss, Oblivion. Oh, that just annoys the fuck out of me. And here, even this one, which is like, the Evergels. I know it's like gals, but we also notice about how these quote-unquote saints rebirth, shall we say. This is just air quotes using. And it's just how much the story that's kind of been missing out, and I can see why they kind of mostly like left things out. Even Mesmer's, I felt really bad for Mesmer. And how you, depending on how you look with America from here on out, it's its own unique thing, and I can't say that enough. And how much love that they put into here, and Day 1 patch was needed, a lot of patches, and as much like the perfumer bottles, and there's that Swift that you probably end up, mostly saw, at least beginning. I know like Only Waifu, and how much Only Waifu, and I think Ouroboros, Fire PL, like these PvPers did mention, hey, FromSoft, please patch this because it's basically broken. And of course, cheesers will gonna be cheesers. But I'm glad they kind of heard and actually listened, which was a surprise. GG from FromSoft, literally that is a major surprise. So, but yeah, from all I gotta really say is the lore behind why America did her own thing and why she kind of have her own, why she was hiding this. That's, you gotta look at it from all angles from here, and honestly, I can see why America was like hiding away her past because of the trauma, but yet she also didn't rise above her own, and why she became a god in her own way. But even Milkula, that basically you had to start. Even that DLC, like how you start this DLC, you gotta fight Rodon and Moog. And why Moog had to die, which is very twisted of Milkula. And how much I felt bad, for Saint Trina as well. So, but yeah, and for my own self, I know probably like Vativia is gonna probably do his own videos about, Character Card Edition. And of course, the legend himself let me solo her. And I did forget to mention, because I did want to, post that. Hold this off just for this because of that. Oh, before I forget, there is a sponsor segment right about now. Thank you to Dubby. As always, use my code DragonFam94 to give 20% off. And of course, I always like to thank Dubby for my daily stuff. And as you all can see right here in the lineup, there's really excellent stuff right here that you can at least try out or taste. And of course, there's a lot of other stuff on here as well. Again, just want to thank Dubby for sponsoring today's video. And as always, I hope that you at least enjoy. Don't forget, use my code DragonFam94, 20% off. And while I make a little bit more on the side, thank you again, Dubby Energy. So, as much as thank you to Dubby as always, and even right now, you probably end up seeing is like, I believe it's like the first boss, so, which you had to do, and in my blind let's play of this DLC, I went to endgame. That's what I love about this, and of course, even Rena, it's the Moon Knight, Twin Moon Knight, as you probably end up seeing on screen. She can definitely wreck you. And there is some little bit implemented in here, which is Seduce, where, the picture I end up seeing, like, right now, is basically what you need. Back then, when Day 1 patch came out, it was, like, really difficult. And you had to explore, and why I said, like, in that, in my first present video, is because most of the time, you have to explore. They want you to explore. You cannot just steamroll this, this DLC and think you can just be carried. It's an alternate universe, and why Miyazaki did. And I know there has been, like, a lot of videos, and why I was kind of holding this off, because at the same time, when I released that video, it was still out and it was still new. Even still now, still new. Almost about a month left now. So, and this is why I definitely think it's definitely good in the right direction from here on out, and why I'm excited. And yes, as much as I'm scared, because as I said this before too, it's just because I'm scared what's going to happen next because of the patches. And lately, there is still like that little bit nugget of doubt that they're going still, probably some developers going to cave in a bit more and just, lower difficulty just for these people that want to steamroll this game. And yes, I know they're probably just, out there, and they're already been, filtered out as most, which I'm grateful, but, there's still a little bit more stuff here that I think it might be good. And most of these bosses took me like mostly like 1 to 5 tries. Even like the final boss, is just really excellent. Oh, and by the way, here is a funny moment that I decided to put in here just for y'all entertainment. And yes, I did lower the volume because I was screaming into my mic, and I don't think you all want to hear me screaming in my mic. So yeah, here you go. Here's a funny moment from my live stream.
Beat you in 3! What's my fucking name? What's my fucking name? What's my fucking name?
So yeah, I think I have lowered that just for y'all, because I don't think you all want me screaming in your ears or in your, headset or wherever the case is. So yeah, And here is another spoiler of my reaction of the final DLC boss, which I kind of figured out in before when things were kind of rhying, but yeah, here is my reaction to the final boss as well. Okay.
My loyal blade and champion of the festival. Both your deeds will ever be praised in song. Now, the vow will be honored, and my lord brother's soul will return, so that he may be my consort.
Hello, Radon! It's good to see you! Ah! The music is cool!
And that is Rodon, prime soul of Rodon, before he got Scarlet rotted into Mohg's body, to be the promised consort of Nicola for the Age of Companionship. Even though Nicola did it very wrongly, in my opinion. And I think it just fairly shows and stuff. And how much love that they did. And even if you were watching my live stream, while I was fighting him, it took me 15 damn tries. And all I had to do was put a video and... Well, I didn't put a video. I watched a video and I had to follow it through. And I beat him on my 15th try. And it was like right after... after I was done. Because Prime Rodon on day 1 patch, I can say for myself, is more harder than Millennia. Even on PS5, and why I can literally say Millennia is not a good boss. Because, at least in my personal opinion, she's just way too aggressive. People love their simp rotten mommy, which is really annoying to me. Because here's a better bosses. Prime Rodon, this one. Rain, Knight Artorias, Sith, even though he was a good boy. Madness, Orphan of Cos, and any others before Millennia was at least a little bit better. And I just named a few. And what does Millennia do? Oh, okay, yeah, she heals. Okay, that's fine. She can have her credit, but she doesn't have to be so damn aggressive. And I know that's probably everybody's lovely waifu and love Scarlet Rot Mommy to death. But I can literally say for myself now, Prime Rodon was better than Millennia. And this was on on day 1 patch. And let me tell you, he whooped my ass. Until I officially got good, and I have all the way up to 17 Scaduceus Tree fragments, even though I still need to work on a little bit more of my Ash blessings. And of course, and as you probably end up seeing right now, is through of each time Nicola put down his stuff and why he abandoned it, but it's always his heart was in the right spot, but how his actions really done, it really didn't show it really good, and it just shows that he followed the sins of the mother and how that really let down. Even Gaia Gus, or Commander Gus, that was the commander right under Mercer the Impaler, and about their lore between, when Rodon was studying, gravity magic and how much they were together, they gave us the very good lore here and there, which is really, really, really cool. And it's just, the thing is for me too, this is probably their swan song of the game, because they felt like it's been completed now. They've done everything here. And honestly, I can understand why. You know, they felt like they done everything, even though like how Breath of the Wild, no, excuse me, Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm going to go ahead and make a comparison here. And Tears of the Kingdom, I gotta say, at least FromSoft did their best, and they delivered, and it did better than Tears of the Kingdom. Because Tears of the Kingdom, it just felt like they chose the latter and chose it really safe. And I'll definitely do that in a video review another day and another time. So from here, and I think there's been like a little bit less plot lines. And hopefully they can probably patch in, or maybe just give a little bit more, because Godwin, he's in the DLC, as you've probably seen like what he looks like. But the problem is, what does Godwin be in this DLC? I think there's like a little bit mystery right there. I gotta say for myself, but hopefully they can, in my personal opinion, just to finish off or tie down that loose thread. Maybe it's just up to us. So, and apparently this is George R.R. Martin's, probably thing, which was really cool. But for me, I gotta say, I do love this DLC, and I think you will go and love the DLC too. And with the patches right after, day one patch, and I did this offline, and yes, I used my summon, which is my mimic tier, which helped out a lot. I think you're going to like this right after, the previous patches. So, I can say for myself, I think you'll go enjoy. And there is some bosses that did, at least on day one patch, do need a little bit of rework, which was good. And as you probably end up seeing right now, which is Commander Gus. So yeah, I think you're going to enjoy this DLC, in my personal opinion. So, and then I probably, if I did, I would probably like, okay, just for those, what do you think? What do I give this rating of then? It's probably in the very beginning. And as you probably end up seeing, it was like my trophy short that I decided to put on. And I think it's good. I think it deserves, in my personal opinion, a 9 out of 10. There is still some little bit of reworks, but I think it's just FromSoft's usual. So, in my personal Dragon rating of the DLC and the Elden Ring, I definitely can say give this game my personal Dragon rating as a whole in general. And as far as I know, there is no trophies right now. Hopefully they still keep it that way, because I enjoyed it the way it is. So anyways, I definitely give this game my personal rating of Horde It. Now, before I do go and did all my stuff, as always, I think the graphics are very good, and even though on the PS5, but there is still like a little bit of problems. I think they're still kind of working on the frames or the issues, but now lately, as far as I know, at least when this was the first thing happened, you could just, instantly be summoned, and it was really hard, but now they kind of patched that out. And I kind of noticed the frame rate, but it's only on PC, or at least the performance. It's still probably working out a little bit. And of course, I want to give some major, special shout outs. As always, the legend himself, let me solo her, Demon Mama, Vati Vidya, Oroboro Oro, Vati Vidya, and then definitely Fire PL. And those are just my original ones. I can at least say for myself. And Only Waifu as well. I almost forgot about, Only Waifu, and about their channel and about their content. It's about some exploits and stuff like this and that. And definitely, I want to at least, give some major welcome, special shout outs. And one of them is definitely Draco the Dragon 2424. His video is in the link description below, and as much, I'll probably end up linking all the special mentions in the link description below. So as always, if you liked what you saw, don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and definitely share. And I'll hopefully see y'all in the next probably game review or video let's play, wherever the case is. So as always, my Dragonites, Dragonborns, and Dragonkin, this is Dragonite, Dragonborn, Dragon Sage, signing out. Have a good one. My Dragonites, Dragonborns, and Dragonkin alike. And hopefully, even probably after a month, I hopefully that you at least play the DLC either on PC or the consoles. And there is a mod of like the seamless co-op, which I almost forgot to mention, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it here. So as always, my Dragon Knight Dragonborn Dragonkin. This is Dragon Knight Dragonborn Dragon Sage signing out. Have a good one. My Dragon Knights Dragonborn Dragonkin like. And I do apologize. This was like a very little bit late review of base game, but also kind of holding off for like the main game. As always, farewell for now.